Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Anwita Bakshi, a young mother, saree lover, a bibliophile, and a small business owner. Anwita did her MBA in 2013 and joined the corporate world as a business analyst. After completing 4 years at office, she decided to give her entrepreneurial dreams a try by starting her own small business in 2018, which she calls the Mulberry Trails. Welcome, Anwita, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely flattered.
No, it's honor and joy is ours, Anvita. So, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So, Anvita, in your introduction, I talked about this, business of yours, which you call the Mulberry Trails. It's a very
Yes.
beautiful yet intriguing name. So, why don't we start there and, if you can unravel what is Mulberry Trails?
So basically, I personally love saris, and I always wanted to do something related to that, but it wasn't just a reselling business. I wanted to go and study them. I wanted to learn where our fabrics are made, how they are made, and so I started mostly with silk. And the silk, mulberry silk, that is manufactured hugely in India, in southern states especially. So
Mhm.
I started with that, and as I'm going forward, I'm exploring all the processes that come within sari manufacturing.
Mhm.
And I'm not only restricting to myself to silk, I'm also exploring cotton and tassa silks as well.
Mhm.
But it's a journey that I'm following, so I wanted to incorporate that into my name. And mulberry, as we all know, is the plant which is used in silk manufacturing, so that is what the silkworm mainly feeds on.
Mhm.
So I wanted to incorporate that into my name. And plus, I have some very fond memories of mulberry, like the fruit mulberry.
Mhm.
As my sister, I was born in Aurangabad,
Okay.
so there are some mulberry trees in Aurangabad, and my sister would often, while coming home from school, I was a
Mhm.
kid, I was 3 years old, and
Correct.
my sister, when coming home from school, she used to, pick those mulberry fruits from
Mhm.
trees, and she used to bring those home for me. So
Uh,
that's one very fond memory which I have with
you,
mulberries.
you know,
So I
you,
wanted
you
to incorporate all that.
no, no, Anvita, you rekindled my own memories of Mulberry. In Marathi we call it tuti, I think. There,
Yes.
we have, our trips to Mahabaleshwar on Lake Venna. I know they sell those beautiful mulberry, thing, and we kind of eat that. But I think you talked about your journey with saris. So, when did this start, and when did this love for sari start for you? Uh,
As long as I can remember, I remember being fascinated with saris. So my
mhm,
father used to travel for work
mhm.
to different states, and whenever he used to go, he used to buy saris for my mom. So
Oh,
I'll be very honest. My mom loves wearing saris, but she is not a hardcore sari fan. My father
okay.
is actually,
Oh,
and he
that's
used to love
interesting.
bringing this.
Okay.
So he used to love buying these saris for my mom,
Uh-huh.
and I remember being fascinated with them. And even for any small function in school, there used to be sari days, and I used to remember being so happy and excited that I get to wear a sari. So that's how it started. And
How old,
there
are-
was
how
a
old,
phase.
how old were you then when you first saw or felt your love for sari?
Uh, I'll say around 13 to 14 years.
Oh, that's very young.
Uh,
That's very young.
yes. So I remember our school used to have this bondla
Oh,
every
yeah.
year,
Yes.
annual. So I remember I used to wear sari every year,
Uh-huh.
and I used to be very happy that I get to wear saris to school. And they obviously used to be my mom saris back then,
Correct.
but I used to enjoy wearing them, and I would be very excited. And so I remember around 13, 14, I realized that okay, I do like these,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not consider it as a business. That actually was suggested to me by somebody else. When my sister was getting married, we
Okay.
were shopping for a lot of sarees, and her in-laws are Bengali.
Oh, okay.
So we came in touch with a lot of Bengali sarees during that time. And my brother-in-law's Jijaji,
Mm-hmm.
he noticed that I'm 19 years old and I was so excited about sarees, about saree shopping. And he's like, Anvita, आपको पसंद है तो आप business क्यों नहीं करते साड़ी का? I can provide you with Bengali sarees from here and you can
Uh-huh.
sell them.
Okay.
And I just laughed at that concept back then, but it stuck with me somewhere. That
Where
maybe
was
I can
this?
do something like this.
Where was this in Bengal? Your sister got married to a Bengali in Bengal?
No, the marriage happened here only in Pune,
Okay. Okay.
but they were all traveling for shopping for wedding.
Uh-huh.
We went to Kolkata for shopping, so there
Okay.
were multiple trips to and fro.
Okay.
And that was during this shopping period that we met Jijaji multiple times, and he suggested कि अन्विता आप शुरू करना चाहिए, आपको बहुत पसंद है.
तो
So that
कैसे
stuck
कैसे
with me.
तो कैसे शुरुआत की? How did you start this?
I did not start for another 10 years, to be honest. I
Oh.
was 19. I was doing my graduation in microbiology, a field that is not related to my current uh, business at all.
Okay.
But I was enjoying studying microbiology. I will not say that it was not a right decision or something like that. It was a favorite topic,
Okay.
so I started studying that. But my focus was into going into life sciences. So I was working as a business analyst for life sciences. But then after completing 4 years, my husband is also an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very supportive, and he's like, if that is something you want to try, why don't you give it a go? Just
Mm-hmm.
try it out. So in at least you won't feel that, yes, like, I wanted to do that, but I never even tried. So he
Anvita,
suggested.
yeah, Anita, many times people do a change or a shift in their
Yeah.
professional life or personal life for various reasons. And one of the things that I have read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, is either you are unhappy or dissatisfied in doing what you're doing, and hence you look for a
Mhm,
change, or
mhm.
you are satisfied, you're happy in doing something, but you find something more attractive that pulls your attention. So for
Yes.
you, how did this transition from a corporate job as a business analyst in life sciences, which is such an amazing and a vast field with so many opportunities, and you went into this becoming an entrepreneur in sari. So is it a move away from that life, or is it the pull of this world that brought you here?
So I was definitely more interested into this business. That's why I wanted to give this a try.
Uh-huh.
And I won't say that I was unhappy at my job as such,
Okay.
but I did feel that it's getting monotonous. So,
Mm-hmm.
this felt very attractive, uh, exciting, and basically I realized to carry out this field, to be in this field, to be an entrepreneur related to sarees, I need to travel a lot.
Okay.
And I would just realize that after a certain age, I probably won't have that energy
Mm-hmm.
or that patience to start
Mm-hmm.
traveling, stay in small places, small hotels, wherever we can find a place to stay. And I probably won't have that energy. So I was like, why not give it a try right now? And if it doesn't work out, I was always open to going
Oh,
back.
yeah, that's a very interesting and risk to take. So what were the baby steps that you took? I mean, can you share, or can you some travel experiences you talked about, going to small towns? Anything that you remember your first few days of this starting this business?
Uh, so I started with South India. I went to So what I usually used to do, I used to plan a trip with my husband or with my sister, and we used to visit various places, and then we used to go
Mm-hmm.
to weaving towns.
Okay.
So like we planned a trip to Pondicherry, and from there we went to Kanchipura.
Okay.
There we visited a few weavers, spoke with them, and that's where I did my first purchasing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I came back, I got a few response from friends and family, and they were extremely supportive,
Okay.
which is something I didn't imagine, to be very honest, but they were very supportive. So that's how I started, and within 2 3 months, I actually realized I actually found out that I'm pregnant, so I couldn't travel for another 3 months.
Okay.
So then we mostly went to Kolkata because my brother-in-law had a family home over there.
Okay.
So
Where? Okay. In
that's
Kolkata
why,
city. In Kolkata city itself.
yes.
Okay.
No, they are slightly outside Kolkata,
What is the place called?
near Shantiniketan. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
even in the Shantiniketan district. It's closer to that. But
Place is called Bolpur, right? Bolpur.
yes, Bolpur is the district. Shantiniketan is the town.
Okay. 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 So tell us there. Yeah.
Yes. So we did a few trips over there, and language was not a barrier because my brother-in-law was there. We had help from family to understand language, which
Mm-hmm.
was a bit of a trouble in South India,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because none of us could speak or understand Tamil.
Correct.
So, but Bengali, I understand Bengali,
Okay.
and my sister or my niece also helped me translate it if I am not
Mm-hmm.
able to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we could easily establish relations with weavers, and that definitely helped. And we connected with a lot of weavers. So the thought was that I should not have to travel every single time I have to procure. So
Correct.
once we could establish this relationships, I could procure easily in Pune as well, because I could not travel
Mm-hmm.
after seventh month of pregnancy and a few months after that as well.
Correct. Correct.
So that was the thought process. So that's why we focused on Bengal, uh, starting in first few months only.
So sari that way is a very very ethnic Indian dress material, isn't it? It's been there
Yes.
for I don't know how old is sari as a garment in India. I'm just curious to know.
Uh, More than thousands of years, as long as more than that actually, as we can trace historically that weaving was happening in India in ancient times as well,
Yes.
and stitching was something which came a lot later. So before that, this just plain woven fabric is what
Okay.
most Indians used for dressing. Even men, not just women. It's
Yes.
just that women are still carrying out the tradition mainly, not like men, or not even we see men wearing dhotis. But this unstitched garment is what most Indians uh, used for a very long time. And the draping styles also vary a lot throughout India. If we see, there
Mm-hmm.
are so many local colloquial, just like language, there are sari draping styles,
Mm.
and they were also very dominant till about 150 years ago. It
Okay.
was after that we have mostly stuck to the one draping style that we see today,
Mm.
and there is a lot of influence of Western clothing. That's how that's a very recent transition, to be honest.
I remember, a couple of.
For the longest duration.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
No, no, so I'm just saying because you talked about draping style. I remember a couple of years back, me and Asha, my wife, we had traveled to Coorg in Karnataka,
Yes.
and they wear a sari of a very different kind. The draping style is very different. So I know you must have traveled different parts of the country, right? So Kanchipuram, then Bengal. So tell us more about how this garment, which was an unstitched fabric, as you call it, how did it become mainstream for women in India?
Uh, so I feel saris were the clothing of choice for many women for
Mm-hmm.
a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I remember, like my even my mother told me that even she used to wear saris uh, in 70s, 80s while going to college.
Okay.
Uh, so that was how it was. Uh, I think it's a much recent change that women are now shifting to other dresses.
Hmm.
But since we all, I think my generation also remember seeing our grandmothers mostly wearing saris.
Correct.
And in fact, many women, many girls of my generation remember their grandmother wearing draping saris in the local style.
Correct.
Not really this Navy style. Like I remember my Aji used to wear Nawari sari,
Yes.
and Navy drape was something my mom shifted to. This is a very recent change that
Hmm.
that is seen in sari drapes or sari styling. And recently, there is again a movement. Some women are going back to these local or different styles of draping, and they are experimenting with sari draping. And I think that's a very exciting change that we are beginning to see.
Yeah, I mean, as they say, I mean, at least as a man, I can say for sure that, for me also, women look the most beautiful when they wear a sari. It doesn't matter whether it is worn in whichever style, whether it is a Gujarati style or a Marathi style or a Kurgi style, but that's how I look at it. But you said that you work with artisans, right? You used that word a while ago. Can you tell us more about what is that you work with artisan, and how does what they do help you, your business, or how does your business help the artisans which are in whichever part of the India? So what is that?
So basically, weavers are basically the soul for my business. They are the ones who are doing all the job.
Hmm.
And I came in touch with these weavers through my trips. And I personally enjoy watching the process,
Hmm.
how they are working, how they are taking up this job, how each and every step is carried out, and it's really it's there is a very rhythm to it, which
Hmm.
is very fascinating to me. So I enjoy watching that a lot. And definitely I so most a big part of my business is basically directly selling the ones which they are making, but I am definitely venturing into designing.
Hmm.
uh, Now designing is something that people study for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and I don't have any formal designing background. So
Hmm.
whatever studying that I am doing, that is also coming from these artisans. I'm
Hmm.
watching them on ground doing all the work. I'm talking to customers. I'm trying to understand what they want, and I'm trying to incorporate my ideas into it. And they are definitely the ones who are helping me. So that is how this process is right now. And to be honest, there are many NGOs who are, saying that they claim to be helping weavers and everything, which is a really good thing. But the one thing that we need to do most importantly is to make sure that the products are seen, to make sure that the products are visible, and
Hmm.
that is all they require. So there is certainly a demand for this. Only thing is that there shouldn't be a gap in supply. That is what I'm trying to fill. And I so when we are getting information from market for the weavers, that is how it's helping them also to create
Correct.
products which are going to reach out to more and more customers. And I really that is how I appreciate their work.
No, it is so beautiful, equation or relationship that you are telling, that how your being in the marketplace gives you a lot of ideas of possible design that the customers would probably love, and then you work and pass on that information to your weavers in rural India, uh, and then they make that sari for you, or other way around, probably some of their way of weaving could probably end up influencing the product that you sell. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, yes, definitely.
And
So major part is actually that, because since they have more in-depth knowledge,
Yes.
than I do about the product. I will definitely say that majority of is what they are creating right now.
No, you talked about weaving, and I know as a student of Indian history, I know weaving goes back maybe more than 2000 years old in this country, as one of the oldest
Mm.
professions that people in this land had. And very nice of you to say that your weavers are the soul of your work. And
Yes.
one of the lines, as I was listening to you, one of a beautiful Kabir poem comes to my mind, because Kabir, the saint, he was a weaver himself, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I don't know the whole line, but he talked about, he had this beautiful poem which says, Chadariya jhini re jhini, Ram Naam Ras Bhini, Bhini, Chadariya Jhini Re Jhini. I know Anup Jalota, I remember, has sung a beautiful song of this. So very nice about all that. So tell us more about, as you have cultivated this business called Mulberry Trails over the last 3 years. While growing up, you're a young kid also simultaneously. Working with artisans in India and keeping that art alive in rural India, thanks to your business, because I think art and commerce, at least the way I look at it, goes hand in hand. You can't have art only without commerce, or commerce with no art, but somehow these two work hand in hand. So,
Yes.
as you look at it, what is it that you are envisioning yourself? What is your dream for Mulberry Trees? Where do you see it going in the future?
So I do plan. So as I mentioned, due to COVID and after my delivery, I was not able to travel as much as I would have liked to. But this is definitely, I'm planning to change that. So I plan on incorporating as many unexplored weaves as possible. And I plan to make them as mainstream as possible. So we all know Kanchivaram sarees, we all know Patola sarees, but there are so many unexplored weaves in different parts which are not available that easily. So I really intend on bringing as many of them as possible.
Is there
And
a is there
a
an
very
online store where one can find all this of yours?
yes, definitely. So that is what I am planning to do with Mulberry Trails.
Mhm.
So we did one collection of Snowy Shibori sarees. So
Mhm.
that is again a not very commonly or not very well known art, where the fabric is stitched and the design is formed while stitching, like
Mhm.
embroidery.
Okay.
Then the entire fabric is dyed, and then all these stitches are removed. So that is one such a different art that is
Wow.
not very well known.
Very
So
nice.
that was
Very
one
nice.
collection
And where does
which
this
we
come
did.
from? Which part of India does this come from?
Currently it is being practiced in Rajasthan.
Oh,
So the art of Nui Shibori is actually not Indian.
okay.
Shibori came to India from Japan,
Okay.
but it is so popular globally. To be honest, Shibori is
Mhm.
very well known globally, but India put a put their own spin on it,
Mm.
and that is something that is I'm interested in exploring. Another weave which we introduced were Chettinad cotton sarees. So we
Okay.
all know the famous Kanjivaram sarees from
Correct.
South, but
Correct.
South cotton is a bit forgotten, unfortunately.
Oh.
There are still women, obviously, from South India, or women who daily wear South cotton sarees
Mhm.
because it's a very comfortable fabric. But
Yeah.
if, if we see in mainstream, not everybody is used to this. So the Chettinad cotton sarees are woven with ikat technique. So that's again a new, very new, hardly a year old technique. So that the weavers in Chettinad region are exploring. And I again got in touch with one of them, and we are that is again one sari that I'm exploring. So that is what I really intend to do with Mulberry Trails, to
So
go and explore these unknown weaves and introduce them.
tell me, Anvita, in the world where we have online shopping or online commerce, which has been so popularized with platforms like Myntra, for example, which are fashion, they kind of
Yes.
peddle God knows how many fashion brands, but most of them are obviously Western casuals or semi-casuals or formals. But still, not ethnic Indian. Now, do you find girls of your age, late 20s, early 30s, really interested in this Indian garment called sari? And you talked about so many weaves, so many knots. Uh, what is the interest that they have? Would they know about what is happening in this world, the innovation in the fabric, in the weave, in the design, in the print? Uh, I don't know. What is the awareness of all this?
I feel we are very blessed to be in this world with technology today, because uh, 10 years ago this exposure was not there, but thanks to even social media platforms like Instagram, there are so many influencers, young influencers for that matter, who are
Okay.
venturing into specific sari or Indian garment related uh, influencing. So
Mm-hmm.
that is, I feel, is it's very promising that we are introducing young like girls who are in their 20s to saris, and they are taking up to it, and I feel there is a nostalgia attached to it as well, to
Yes, yes.
saris.
So,
So that is something that many women are enjoying, and once you start draping, I feel you start learning also more about these.
looks like the story of the Indian sari is getting reinvented and repositioned in today's
Yes,
21st century. And
yes,
somebody
definitely.
like you are, through your Mulberry Trails, are carrying the story and tradition forward and making it
Yes.
available on the global platform. But in all this, I know all of us have been impacted with COVID in various ways.
Mhm.
So how has this COVID impacted your business? If you can quickly walk us through, and what adaptations or changes did you have to do for your business model, to the way you source, to the way you sell? Uh,
Mhm.
how has that learning happened to you?
So basically, when I started this business, my focus was mainly on Pune market. That's where I am located right now.
Mhm.
And I was doing lots of exhibitions, and I love doing exhibitions because you directly get to talk to the customer. You
Correct.
get to understand their feedback, you get to understand their points, their concerns. And that was a great learning experience for me.
Mhm.
Plus, sarees is something most women, even my friends who shop online for all the smallest things that they need, still
Mhm.
prefer to shop for sarees in person, because you
Correct.
want to see the fabric, you want to feel the texture, you want to see how it will look. So
Correct.
that is why I uh, preferred doing exhibitions. But COVID has put a sudden stop to all of it.
Yes.
So I had to pivot to online, and definitely it was a challenge for me about
Mhm.
how to uh, position my products online, how to showcase them, how to everything that a customer wants to do in person. They want to see the
Correct.
sari, they want to
Correct.
feel the texture, they want to
Mhm.
see how it will look draped, how to showcase all these
Mhm.
to the customers. It has been a learning experience for me as well.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I was not a very active person on social media as well.
Okay.
uh, I was not even on Instagram
Oh.
till 2 years
Oh.
ago,
Oh.
which
Okay.
was something so unusual.
For your
But
age.
I joined, yes, for my age group, because almost all my friends were there, and they're like, you should join Instagram. It's very
Yeah.
interesting. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah. But I joined Instagram for my business, to be very honest,
Wonderful.
and I'm learning these new platforms as well. So it's new learning experience for me as well.
Wonderful.
We built a website. So I mostly did all the groundwork. My sister helped me a bit through it,
What is the website called?
and
What is the website called?
it's called the mulberrytrails.com. Uh,
TheMulberryTrails.com.
yes, I'll
Wonderful.
definitely share a link,
Sure, sure.
so that
Yeah.
will be easier.
Yep.
And so this is basically, for the longest time it was a one person show. So
Yes.
I was doing all these things. I was learning product photography, I was
Oh,
learning website building, I was
okay.
learning how to build content for Instagram, for Facebook, for Pinterest. And it was a great arc, a great learning arc. And I'm To be very honest, many people have this negative opinion about Instagrammers, about influencers.
Yes.
There is a very negative feeling attached to it. But the more I'm learning about this world, I do feel that I have uh,
No,
a lot
no,
of
I'll tell
interest
you.
in this field.
No, no, Anvita, I'll tell you, I am also a firm believer that all this internet and online technology, it's the way you look at it. It could be a blessing, it could be a curse, but there is so much beautiful things that you can do. And I think the way you have taken a very traditional Indian women clothing called a sari and redefining it, if I can use that word, for the times today,
Ye-
still sticking to the basics of
Mhm.
connecting to the weavers of rural India, being in conversation with them, giving them some support and help in their own livelihood, and they in turn giving you something beautiful to give it to the marketplace. So what a wonderful circle. And in all this, you are leveraging technology, you're leveraging platforms, you're learning. And all this, by the way, uh, you know, you never learned entrepreneurship as a formal education, right? I mean, this is just on the job, right?
Yes, it was mostly on job. I mean, I did my MBA, but after I started my business, I
Correct.
realized I know nothing.
Correct, correct. So wonderful. I think,
So
Anvita, I wish we could have more time to have this conversation. Maybe what I would
I
say
will
that let's look for a follow-up conversation on the podcast sometime down the line, a couple of weeks, a couple of months down the line to continue this
definitely.
conversation. But for now, it has been such a
Yes.
wonderful, 30, 35 minutes. I didn't know how the time flew, but what a wonderful story of a young girl who, while she got pregnant, she jumped into business. She traveled across the length of the country, working with the Indian fabric and reinventing and repositioning. So, Anvita, if you were to uh, say something to Anvita right now, what would you say to her?
Uh, my honestly, my mantra is just focus on the day and keep going. So that is
Wonderful.
what I focus on all the time.
वो एक हिंदी गाना है ना, व्हाट वाज दैट सॉन्ग, ओल्ड वन, रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के, यूं ही चला
Yes,
चल,
yes,
something. So
yes.
that's my wish and hope and pray for you, Anvita, is don't stop, be at it. What a wonderful work that you're doing, and thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
coming on this show. Just a quick word, how are you feeling right now as we end the conversation?
I'm feeling very excited and I'm feeling very honored, to be very honest, that you asked me to be a part of this show. Thank you so much for asking me. I'm really glad
No, no,
because this
Anvita,
is even
this
first time for me and I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
same. No, no, Anvita, this whole podcast is for people like you to come forward and share the whole world, hope, joy, happiness, struggles, challenges that you all are doing to build a life for yourself the way you have envisioned it. So thank you very much for coming on the show. God bless you
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
take care of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75 at gmail.com. Thank you.